everybody. My name is Goof Norton. Welcome to another broadcast of the Goof Norton Radio Show. The world is coming to an end, and it is just, everything's going crazy, and I am, going insane inside, of course, because things are just happening, and it's getting kind of ridiculous, and getting to a point where, we gotta start doing something. We should have been doing something, way back when all this stuff started, but we're getting to a point where we have to do something, or else, of course everything's just gonna go to crap and the country's gonna fall and whatnot. So today I'm gonna talk to you guys, or whenever you're watching this, I'm gonna talk to you guys about some things that have caught my eye, that have been bothering me. First things first, kids growing up too fast. They're growing up way too fast. They're worrying about relationships at the age of 12, 13, 14. I'm like, really? At that age, I wasn't even worried about that. There are always those memes on the the internet, of course, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. They're like, the kids now would be 8 years old and we're 9 years old and be like, oh yeah, I'm so sad, my boyfriend broke up with me. When I was 9, I was busy worrying about I missed cartoons, But now kids are always worried about relationships and stuff like that. Really? You're still in grade school or junior high or even high school. High schoolers, you shouldn't be really worried about relationships that much, because high school is a time for you to find yourself. You shouldn't be worried about somebody else. Because in high school, I can pretty much tell you really don't know what love is, because you just think you do. You really think you do. Well, because teenagers, we always think, oh, we know everything. We're always right. Nobody can tell us anything. When we're always we're not always wrong, of course. Some things we're actually right about. But for the most part, yeah, we're wrong. I can admit that. I'm fine with that. I don't care. That's how I am. I'm not perfect, but at the same time, we should not be thinking we know what love is. We do not know what love is, because love is, it's when you're ready to be responsible for somebody. It means not just, responsible for their person. Responsible for their financial needs, their physical needs, all that stuff is because my dad, we talked about this, a while ago where we were out, and he said he wouldn't explain more than that, because when I'll know when I'm ready, you'll know, because our instincts always kick in, stuff like that, when the time is right. So kids in high school, worry about yourselves. Do not worry about relationships, because they will come. If you happen to meet that special someone in high school, don't hook up just yet. Stay friends. Don't date until you're in college. That is my suggestion to you. You don't have to take my advice, but I'm just telling you, wait till you're in college, because you never know, what college your significant other may or may not be going to, or your soulmate, let's just call it like that, because they may be going to they may be studying abroad or whatever, going to another country, and they might not see you for a very long time. That's why you wait. You stay friends, and then when they're, ready to come back and stuff like that, you guys can hook up then. Wait until you're in high school. That way you guys have time to do this stuff. Not wait till you're in high school. Wait till you're out of high school. And, I'd say, maybe your second year of college. Hey, maybe even your freshman year of college. Well, freshman year of college, it should still be worried about school, because it's your first year. But second year of college, do what you want, Take it easy, take it slow. Don't, just rush into relationships. And also the second thing that bothers me is that kids, they always go right back into another relationship. You guys don't take time to heal. You get cut. You don't take time to put a Band-Aid on. You just go into the next freaking storm or whatever and get cut again. And you're just I don't, I need someone. You don't need someone. You really don't at this point. You're so young and you're so naive. Stop trying to be grown up. What happened to enjoying being a kid? I remember when I really enjoyed being a kid. I was I don't want to grow up, and I'm still kind of enjoying my last moments before I officially turn 18 and have responsibilities. I have responsibilities now, but till I have more responsibilities, and then it's ridiculous, because all these kids are just oh yeah, I know what love is. I gotta you really don't. You really don't. You've really no idea. And they're so disrespectful to their elders. It's really pissing me off. Sometimes I want to punch them in the face, because what I've seen on the internet, I've seen just fights being filmed. What are you kids doing? Break it up. Like, seriously, break up the fight. Don't just sit there and film it on your phone. That's why I don't like this age that I've grown up in sometimes, because like people just do that. When I would have been in there, if I would have, if I would have been in that situation, you gotta break up the fight. Don't just let it happen. Break it up. Don't let people sit there and beat the crap out of each other. Break it up before it gets, fatal, or really serious, because that's something that's like really important that we have to learn. And kids today just cannot fight. They just cannot fight. They don't know how to throw a punch to save their lives. I mean, I remember when I was like 8, I think, or 9, I took karate. I did not get to finish it because my sensei, he moved to another location where I was not available to get there during that period of time I had class scheduled. So I just got stuck with my yellow belt. But I still remember like most of the stuff that he taught me. I even took the liberty out and I even kind of trained myself in like MMA, like submission holds and stuff like that, because it's important to know these things, like just in case somebody comes up with you with a knife or something like that. Because I don't want to be one of these kids that comes out with a gun and like, because they can't fight either. That's why they have the gun, because they know they can't fight. I can't fight, man. I can't throw no punches, so I'm gonna throw some bullets. And they can't even shoot either. So I don't know why they have the gun. It's kind of stupid and ridiculous. And the reason why most of the stuff is happening now is because there's a lack of male presence in these kids' lives, which is why they're acting like this. Because the men, the husbands, the fathers are being taken out because they're in jail for something they did not do. I don't know. But it all starts with the father and the mother. They have to have kind of a relationship, a good chemistry going. If not for them, if not for each other, but for the sake of the children, because without a father figure in their life, they're gonna go crazy. I mean, not like they'll go insane or crazy, but for some of these kids, they need them. Like, they actually need them. It's kind of like an important kind of thing you need in your life. You need some kind of male role model. It doesn't necessarily have to be your father, but it's suggested that it's your father, because he's the one who helped you bring you into this world. So I mean, what can we really do without these? I know, I appreciate my dad, because without him, I'd probably be some stupid little kid, trying to gangbang, with my pants sagging, all that stuff. I mean, I wouldn't sag my pants anyway, because that's just ridiculous and that's stupid. Because half the kids don't even know where that came from. Actually, no, they do know, but they refuse to still pull up their pants. Like, it's not hard. And the kids that wear a belt and sag, that pisses me off the most, because it's like, really? You're wearing a belt. You're wearing a belt. How do you still sag? Like, you must be like a size like -1 or a size 0, because there's no other reason why that belt should not be, tight around your waist and those pants should be up. It's ridiculous. And now it's gotten to a point where people are like, when you're doing good in school and you're getting A's, you're passing your tests and all that stuff, there are other people that are just like, why are you acting so white? Because this happens to me like a lot. Like, it's not acting white, because trust me, white people haven't done everything right in the world. For Pete's sake, Europe is like the source of most of the world's problems. The genocide against the Jews, that was started by Europeans, whites, Germany. Basically kind of the purge of Africa's like goods, because they had a lot of good resources there. Guess what? That was also Europe. And oh, look at that, the slaughters of Native Americans. Oh, look at that. That was also whites. But the whites who came here were trying to escape from, taxes and all that stuff. But look where we are, back in taxes. That's nice. Slavery. Oh, guess what? Whites did that too. So I don't understand why it was always a thing. And Bush gets blamed for 9/11. How can you say I act white when that is a thing? That's kind of insulting. So I don't see why people even say that. Like, whites don't do everything right. I know that for a fact that they don't. Like right now, one of the well, I wouldn't say one of the most famous, like one of the more famous right now whites is running for president, and people are calling him racist, and all this stuff. And you still want to refer to me as white when I get good grades. Yet people are, getting called racist and all this stuff, and I get called white. That doesn't make any sense. That really doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not saying all white people are bad. Like, I have plenty of Caucasian friends and all that stuff that I love dearly. That I would probably, sorry, I can't talk. That I would do anything for. But I'm just saying, don't refer to me as like being white, because that's kind of insulting. On another note, all this craziness and stuff, like, I'm really sick of it because it's really stupid. The media is brainwashing people into thinking that things are the way they are, but they're really not. They're kind of, the media skews them in the way they want you to see it. The media only shows you what they want you to see. Like the whole police brutality thing. Like, the media's saying that only blacks are getting killed, or mostly blacks are getting killed, when in reality more whites are being killed than blacks. In this situation as a whole, like, the numbers are amazing. Like, of how many Caucasians have been killed by cops than African Americans. The media only shows you that blacks are getting killed because that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that the African Americans are like the worst. They're the savages. They're still, they're still savages. They're not civilized. We're not civilized or anything. That we can't do anything right because they want us gone. Somebody powerful wants us gone, wants us out of this country, because I think either in a decade or two, the African Americans will actually outpopulate the Caucasians. If this trend keeps going the way we are, the African Americans are gonna outpopulate the Caucasians, because we are like, what are we, like the second biggest minority group or the first biggest minority group? I can't remember. But yeah, it's gonna happen, and the media is like, it tries so hard, because they try so hard because they have to. Like, they want African Americans gone. They don't want us to be here and be successful and all this stuff. And I know people are going to say, like, but what about President Obama? He's in office. Yeah. But he's the only one. He's the only one they have in office. There haven't been any more. There's only one. And, there may be more. But because you realize that we as the American people don't really vote for president. It's the Electoral College, if you did not know that. But they have to give us a little bit of reassurance every now and then, or we'll catch on to what they're doing, and that's what they're trying to get away from. Like, they don't want us to catch on to their plans. They're like, okay, let's let one guy, slide in there. He's smart, he's cool, he looks really nice. Let's let him slide in there. Let them believe that they're getting power. And then, when we're all relaxed and cool and be like, yeah, they'll keep feeding us these lies. They'll just keep feeding us these lies because they don't want us to see what's really happening behind the scenes and all this stuff. And it's amazing of the stuff that they hide from us, because you really have to do your research. You can't just trust what the TV says. Because I've heard the saying, it's the television instead of the television. It's television because they tell a lot of lies. Like, they really are. Like, the housewife shows and all that stuff. Most of those girls aren't even married, first of all, so they can't even call themselves housewives. They're just house females, I guess you could say. I don't know. But some of them aren't even married. Like, so you're not a housewife because you're definitely not a wife. I don't see a ring on that finger. And shows now are just drama this, drama that. Like, who cares? Nobody really cares. Get a life. It's just getting to a point where it's ridiculous. Because I don't really watch TV anymore. YouTube is my TV now. Because all I watch now are gaming videos and I listen to podcasts and all that stuff. Because that's it. There's less drama in those. There's less, BS going on and all this stuff that's happening, making the world crazy as it is now. We need to stop. We need to get together as a people, as the human race. We need to get together and stop these corrupt governments. Because America should be should be one of the most powerful nations. And if we keep going on this trend, we're not going to be one of the most powerful nations in the world, because we are going to fall and we're going to collapse in on ourselves, because people can't seem to get anything straight today. Because everybody's getting offended by anything, like anything is said. Like recently, the word lame was like being bashed because, you know, lame, of course, refers to like a crippled person in the Bible, as I've read. So now that's being bashed, even though that term was used for a long, long, long time by kids, by adults, you know, in TV shows. And I didn't think it was really that bad of a term, like, oh, it's this lame, you know. I thought it was like one of those words that are like, man, that's a corny word to use for a kid. Like that's wow, that's bad. But I didn't think of it like as an insulting term to lame for a person who is lame, as in they're handicapped, because we have words for them, like you are handicapped and you are a cripple. Like I mean, it is what it is. Like, I don't find the term lame like insulting or offensive in any sense, because like it's really not. It like really isn't, because now all of a sudden you want to use the Bible to start referencing like these words, like, oh, this is offensive because in the Bible here it says, like, oh, it's referring to a handicapped person. Like, really? Now you want to use it. But when it comes to all these morals and stuff you shouldn't do, you're just like, oh, no, I can't. Like, if you're gonna go into it and start using some of the words, like, be all about it. Don't just go into the stuff that you like. Don't take the stuff that you like out of it, because that's not how things work. Especially things like religion. You should not mess around with it lightly, because it's not something to be taken lightly. It's something to be taken seriously, because if you're going to be in it, be all about it. Don't be fake with it. You know, you got to be 100%. You can't just go into it like, oh, maybe, just a little bit. You can't do that. That's not how it works. And that's my 2 cents on what's going on in the world today. Now, on a lighter note, I think I'm getting old. I don't know. Because as a 90s kid, all the TV shows I used to watch, they're gone. Like, all my favorite shows are gone. They're gone. The only one left from the 90s is SpongeBob. And even SpongeBob is really not that good anymore. The older episodes were, they were kind of what SpongeBob was originally meant to be as an adult show. They had kind of that more mature humor, I guess you could say. And it was really funny, hilarious. Because Patrick was stupid, and it was like really funny. Today's shows, it's Patrick and SpongeBob that are like really stupid, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not that funny anymore. It's really stupid. It's lost its touch. There was a rumor going around that Tom Kenny, like they're like, the voice of SpongeBob is dead. I was like, Tom Kenny is not dead. And some people who told me this, they were like, who's Tom Kenny? It's like, he's the voice of SpongeBob. Look it up. Jeez. And that shows you just how gullible people are these days. They'll listen to anything that is told to them, and that's ridiculous. Shows like Rocko's Modern Life, I used to watch that. I used to really like that show. What else? Camp Lazlo was another one. I can't remember who voiced the main character, who was Lazlo. But that was a good show for a little bit. It was kind of funny. Chowder, oh my gosh, I love that show. It's on Netflix. That show's on Netflix, and I watch that because it's funny. My dad calls it mind-numbing, but you know, I'm like, whatever. It's funny. It's funny. I like it. Because they kind of break the fourth wall sometimes on that show, so it's really funny. Adventure Time was good at first. Like, the first season of Adventure Time was good, and then they started getting like relationships involved with it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's bad. Like, that's really bad. Like, I don't want to watch this anymore. That's why that's the reason why I don't watch Adventure Time anymore. They took it too far into relationships. Like, they made Finn like actually feel like serious emotions like he shouldn't be feeling, like, at a kid his age. I'm trying to think. I think there was one episode where Princess Bubblegum was like, oh yeah, it's like she got turned back to 13 because she fell into a pit of basically acid and just disgustingness, and so she got put back together, and she got turned back to 13, and Finn was 13, and then they started quote unquote dating, and then when she got like turned back to 18, Finn was like kind of heartbroken, you know. She's like, oh man, she's not the same anymore. And then it's like, dude, like, come on, right? What are you doing? Oh, my computer just freaked out. Sorry about that, people. My computer just like had a mini stroke. But it's crazy because why would you do that? Like, that just ruined the show for me. I'm like, wow, you just brought some emotions in there that even I'm not feeling right now. Like, as a kid, I'm like, what's going on? Like, I don't like these things. So I don't really watch that. Amazing World of Gumball. I mean, the original, the voice before the person who voiced Gumball before the current voice actor, that's when I like the show. When they kicked him off, then I'm like, I kind of hate it now because it's different and all that stuff. And it's not different in a good way. It's just like different as in let's see. Oh, actually no, The Simpsons. I like The Simpsons. They're good. They're always kind of funny to me. Phineas and Ferb, I kind of watch them a little bit. They're not bad actually. There's some things that you could learn in those shows, in that show, which admittedly I did. I learned a couple things, but you know, who says TV isn't good for you? Sometimes you can learn some stuff. Because I would always be told as a kid, like, oh, too much TV is bad for you, when there are like documentaries that are actually educational for you. Now there are shows like The Carbonaro Effect, where this guy, he's a prankster, but he's also like really good at magic tricks. Like, he's amazing at them, and he fools these people into believing like certain things are happening. The show is always funny. There's also another show called Outrageous Acts of Science. I also watch. Really good show. Because they show you these things. They show you like they go through a countdown list of like the top 10 or 20 people that just do these amazing things like that are involving science. Science as a whole, really. Like that includes physics and all that stuff. Physics and chemistry, and it's really good. Also, I'm a big fan of like any like nature documentaries. Like, I'm a sucker for those because I can't help it. Because I love like thinking about like all these animals that we know about, and yet there's still more. There's still more animals that we don't know about because we haven't explored like our entire ocean. We've only explored like a fraction of it. There's still more, a lot more to go, and hopefully one day we can. Like, I really do, because we're too busy focusing on space. When space is like literally endless. Space is endless. We can't find the end of it because it's endless. It's an endless void of like stuff, and it's so cool. Because you can never find the end. Like, it's unmeasurable. You can't measure the distance of space because it's just space. It is what it is. Like, it is space. But with our planet, there's an end. There's an end to it. There's of course an end to it. We know because we have a solid core of. There have been different speculations. It's been a core that we have a core of iron, or a core of like. Molten lava, of course. Magma, sorry. Technical term. Because below ground it's magma, above ground it's lava, blah, blah, blah. So there have been different theories on that, but still, we can explore, like, we can only explore, like, a finite, distance down before we hit the core of the Earth. So I'm like, why don't we just explore what we have here instead of going out into space and wondering, like, what's out there? Wait until we know exactly everything that's on our planet, on our own planet, because there's still species of plants that we just don't know about, There was a show, I think it was on National Geographic or something like that was called Wild Russia, and that was a good show because the majority of Russia, as some people no, it's not populated by people. It's populated by animals and snow. Because the more populated part of Russia is like towards Europe, and that I think is kind of weird because Russia is like one of the, I think it's either the biggest country in the world or one of the biggest, but because it makes up most of Asia. As I'm looking at my world map right here, yeah, it's the biggest. Makes up most of Asia, but the more populated part by people is like populated towards Europe. But the rest of it is just like, hey, snow and animals, yay! There's a person like scattered here and there, where there's like slight civilization signs, I guess. But Yeah, I mean it's amazing because animals are the most interesting creatures like on this planet. Well, animals like haha creatures. They're the only freaking other thing that's on this planet besides us. Uh, I'm stupid. Sorry. Certain animals are like really interesting to me because I always find do- uh, domesticated animals like dogs, like the dogs we see every day, that people have. They always interest me because I was watching a video on Facebook that had a guy who had been gone in the military, of course, for about a year or two, and um, his dog was like, at first his dog was like, huh, who's this? Like, who's this person? And the dog smelled, and it took the dog a little, like about like maybe 5 seconds, and then it clicked back in the dog's memory, like, oh, this is my owner, this is my human. And the dog was so excited, and they can't express emotions like we do. Um, but the dog was so excited, he just started licking his owner and just jumping around like, um, because I'm sure if he could try, like he would, because um, that's that's the thing. Like they express emotions differently because they can't express like we do. We can express through words, we can express through art, we can express through music. We can express through pretty much anything we feel like. And it's amazing how animals express emotion and express how they feel in certain situations. And it's funny to see how animals deal with like seeing themselves in a mirror and whatnot. It's all amazing because our brains are like differently wired to do things. Like we are we have free will. We don't we're not like wired to do certain things, unlike other animals like birds. Like our ants. Ants are the great example of like how everything functions, how it should. Ants don't you don't see an ant just like goofing off being like, oh, I'm gonna go over here and just relax in the sun or relax in the shade. No, an ant is always working. An ant is always looking for food and other supplies to help build its colony. It does not deviate from its purpose because it was put here for a reason, and it does what it needs to do and gets it done within, I guess its own time constraints. I don't know. I'm not an ant. I don't know how their time schedule works. I don't know if they sleep, but I do because I need sleep. um, but yeah, I mean that's cool. It's all very cool. So let me know what your favorite '90s cartoon or cartoon from like the early 2000s. Anything from 2010 and back. Let me know what your favorite show is. Maybe I missed some shows because I know Tom and Jerry and the Looney Tunes. Oh my gosh, those are my favorite, especially Tom and Jerry. Um, Tom and Jerry was like the best thing for me as a kid, because I loved it so much. Because you didn't have to focus on words. You just focus on these two, this mouse and this cat always kind of beat each other up. But they did it in creative ways, so it's really funny. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening to my little rant, my little tangent here. And we really need to do something about this stuff because it's getting kind of to a ridiculous point, and I'm really worried for our nation as a whole of where it's going to go from here because it's pretty much downhill if we don't fix anything. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But again, tell me your favorite 90s cartoon or childhood cartoon in the description below, and I will hopefully look at those and get to respond to a few of you, if not all of you, and suggest topics for future podcasts because I have some top 10s coming up. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's taking me a little bit longer to get these lists together than I thought it would. Because I think I have like top 10 games and like I don't know what else top 10 top 10 movies and stuff like that. So I have to get those lists together for you guys, and I will share my thoughts with you on those coming soon. Also, be sure to check out a new segment on my podcast channel. I don't know if it's up yet, but I'll check. I think I probably put it up there. I can't remember. It's my it's a sports segment I started called The Update with Goof Norton, and because everything else was pretty much taken. The score was taken. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And that's like, oh wait, that sounds familiar. Yeah, that's taken. So just like The Update. That works. It's an update on sports news, all the time. and I cover sports coverage within the past like 3 or 4 days, and hopefully I will get to go over the Olympics with you guys, because that would be really awesome. I'd really enjoy that. Hopefully I'll have another guest on soon. I don't know how soon, but probably soon. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's podcast. If you have anything else you want to talk to me about in the comments below, I'll be sure to check that out, because I respond to basically all my comments, unless it's like a spam comment. Then I just delete it and be like, oh yeah, why'd you do that? Please tell me your thoughts on today's podcast, because I really want to know how you guys feel about this stuff, because it's really important to me. And follow me on Twitter at Mr. Goof02. That's my Twitter handle. You can email me suggestions and all that stuff at my email, mrgoof02@gmail.com. Or you can check me out on Facebook. I'll put that link in the description below. It's Goof Norton. And I take all messages on all social media platforms, Google+, whatever you got. So thanks guys for listening. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.